Are you not making enough money from mining? Maybe you aren't satisfied with how fast you're breaking blocks, or your mining fortune isn't exactly where you want it to be. Truthfully, you could equip all of the best mining gear in the game right now, and I bet that you still wouldn't be satisfied. Your low mining stats could be the product of your Heart of the Mountain skill tree being very underleveled, but every upgrade in the tree is so expensive it seems almost impossible to max them out. However, there are a few special powder gaining methods you can try that will result in earning more mithril and gemstone powder than you could ever imagine. Hypixel Skyblock rewards the player with 1 to 4 mithril powder whenever they break a mithril block, and the same goes for gemstone powder when a gemstone vein is mined. But we all know that this method of grinding out the several millions of both powder types necessary to max out the Heart of the Mountain tree is nowhere near efficient enough to be considered viable. You don't want to ignore getting a lot of mithril and gemstone powder either, because then you'll be missing out on thousands of potential mining speed and mining fortune stat improvements, which in turn completely ruins your potential coins earned per hour from mining. So what do? In this video, I'll be going over 3 very efficient ways to obtain both types of powder. I've aptly named them all: commission spamming, crystal hollows treasure hunting, and golden diamond goblin punching. Let's jump right into it with a quick overview for each of these 3 methods. Commission spamming has little to no barriers to entry, though this strategy works better with Heart of the Mountain level 3, for access to crystal hollows commissions. Better yet, having Heart of the Mountain tier 7 significantly boosts your powder rates from all commissions, giving more than double the original amount. Every real life day, the first 4 commissions you turn in will be worth 4 times more powder for Heart of the Mountain tier 7. You could also get the King Talisman for a permanent plus 1% powder gain from all commissions. Next, Crystal Hollows treasure hunting is considered the most popular way to gain millions of powder, and it's commonly referred to as powder mining. The requirements to start powder mining aren't too high, but you'll need, at the very least, Heart of the Mountain tier 6, along with some initial powder, probably at least 100,000 gemstone powder to start out. Also, being Heart of the Mountain tier 7 will make this process 50% more effective. I'll reveal why later in the video. Finally, slapping golden and diamond goblins. It's by far the best way to obtain millions upon millions of mithril powder in the shortest amount of time. The only requirement to start this powder making technique is Heart of the Mountain tier 5, for one specific perk that's unlocked on layer 5 of the tree. It literally doubles the powder gain from punching special goblins. I'll also reveal which perk it is later on. However, this method is extremely expensive, as it requires you to have hundreds or even thousands of goblin eggs at your disposal. Now, let's dive into the specifics of each of these 3 methods, starting off with commission spamming. With this method, you'll be completing as many mining commissions as you can, as fast as you can, in order to make the most amount of mithril or gemstone powder possible. The gear you'll need for this method depends on your current Heart of the Mountain level. If you're below tier 3, I strongly suggest waiting to grind out powder until you've reached Heart of the Mountain tier 3 or above, as the Crystal Hollows commissions give double the amount of powder compared to the Dwarven Mines ones. The tool you'll want to use for Dwarven Mines commissions can be any tool with a breaking power of 5 or more. This is so you can take on those titanium commissions with no problems at all. For Crystal Hollows commissions, you'll want a tool with a breaking power of 8 or more. This is for the topaz gemstone commissions that appear every now and then. The armor you wear for commissions doesn't really matter, though for Crystal Hollows commissions, it may be nice to have a set of Yogg armor. This comes in handy when you receive a commission that requires you to go down into the magma fields, as you won't have to worry about overheating. Any pet would work just fine for spamming commissions, since there isn't really a pet that boosts powder gain from them. Having a silverfish pet equipped when collecting your commission rewards will give you some extra mining XP though, so that may be a viable alternative. For Crystal Hollows commissions, a bow pet would work great as well, as that pet has the same effect as the full Yogg armor set bonus: immunity to overheating in the magma field. For commissions, there is no optimal Heart of the Mountain tree setup. It doesn't matter at all. There are no upgrades on the tree that will significantly affect your powder rates from commissions, so you can pretty much put all of your powder wherever you'd like. If you're doing commissions in the Crystal Hollows, I recommend preparing your lobby by creating travel routes to each gemstone vein, to places where all the different mobs spawn, and the locations of all 5 big crystals. Now, how do we do it? It's quite simple. You'll just do exactly what each commission says. If the commission wants you to mine 250 mithril blocks to the cliffside veins, you'll mine 250 mithril blocks to the cliffside veins. If they want you to go and kill 25 sludges, you'll do exactly that. With this method, you can earn around 10,000 powder per hour. For anyone who's able to do the math here, you can recognize that it would still take an unreasonably long time to earn the several millions of both powder types necessary to max out your Heart of the Mountain tree. If you're looking for some really fast powder gain, and you're at least Heart of the Mountain tier 6, check out this next method: Crystal Crystal Hollows treasure hunting. With this method, you'll be breaking as much hardstone in the Crystal Hollows as possible, in hopes that you'll spawn loads of treasure chests. These chests can contain both mithril and gemstone powder, and finding them can be optimized to the extreme with the right Heart of the Mountain Tree setup. The gear requirements for this method are slightly harsher than the previous one, but it's still nothing too crazy. There are many optional items you could buy to increase your powder gain with this technique, but it still works quite well without any of the extra gear. You need to make sure you reach at least 1800 mining speed for this method to work well. You need 1800 speed so you can insta-mine both hardstone and all of the common ores. For a specific tool though, it depends where in the Crystal Hollows you're mining. If you're in the jungle region, it may be a good idea to bring a jungle pickaxe with you. This is because of its passive ability, which will occasionally generate a sludge in your inventory when breaking hardstone in the jungle region. If you're mining anywhere else in the Crystal Hollows though, you should probably bring a tool that doesn't consume fuel, as fuel drains very quickly when powder mining. On top of that, some tools can increase your powder gain by up to 20% just by holding them. For example, holding a Mithril Drill 326 will give you a plus 20% Mithril powder boost, and holding a Jasper Drill will give you a plus 20% gemstone powder boost. You don't even need to mine the hardstone with these drills, just make sure that you're holding them when opening the treasure chests, and the powder boost will apply. The armor you wear while powder mining doesn't matter either, as there's no armor set in Skyblock that can boost your powder gain from treasure chests, though if you're working in the magma fields, I once again suggest a full set of Yogg armor. However, the pet you use when looking for treasure chests actually matters. The definitive best pet to use for powder mining is the Skatha pet. Preferably, you'd use the legendary variant, but any tier works. The legendary Skatha pet boosts your gemstone powder gain by 20%, though the Skatha pet comes with a hefty price tag, so a Bow pet or a Silverfish pet would work as decent substitutes. As I mentioned before, your Heart of the Mountain Tree can be adjusted in such a way that makes this process infinitely more effective. Pay attention, because this part is by far the most important to have set up correctly. In order of the most important upgrades to the least, this is how your Heart of the Mountain Tree should look. 20 levels into Great Explorer, the Sky Mall perk, 51 levels into Mole, enough levels into mining speed to get you to 1800, and the rest of your spare powder should go into upgrading Mole and powder buff. Why those upgrades specifically? Let's break it down. First of all, it is absolutely necessary to dump all of the powder you have into maxing out Great Explorer. This upgrade makes opening the treasure chest completely painless, only requiring one click of the mouse. Next, the Sky Mall perk. This perk offers a 22% chance every single Skyblock day to boost your powder gain by plus 15%, though I've been told that it both does and doesn't apply to Crystal Hollows treasure chests. But I figured you may as well spend the token on the perk anyways, as it doesn't cost any powder to unlock. Getting the Mole upgrade to at least level 51 is pretty important as well, as it allows you to break multiple hardstone blocks at once, increasing the amount broken by 1 every 19 levels. It's basically legal nuking. Who would pass up on that? Powder buff is pretty self-explanatory, as it just gives plus 1% powder gain for both powders per level, capped out at plus 50% powder gain. Wow, that was a lot. I'm surprised you're still here. Anyways, where in the Crystal Hollow should you powder mine? Well, all 5 locations give different materials in their treasure chests, so it highly depends on what you're going for. If you're looking for sludge, you should powder mine in the jungle with a jungle pickaxe. If you're missing a lot of robot parts needed for nucleus runs, you should mine the precursor remnants. For goblin eggs, of every color, break hardstone in the goblin hideout. For Yoggis, which can be turned into Yogg armor, you can mine in the magma fields. And lastly, the mithril deposits holds a bunch of treasurite, which can be useful for forging items in the Dwarven Forge. Before we get into how to carry out powder mining, if you're finding this video informative or entertaining, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, as likes are completely free to give and can really help the channel grow. It's always much appreciated. So, how do you actually powder mine? Let's quickly make sure you're all caught up first. Double check that you're at least Heart of the Mountain 6, but preferably Heart of the Mountain 7 for access to the powder buff perk. Make sure your Heart of the Mountain tree is set up correctly, with Great Explorer at level 20, the Sky Mall perk active, Mole to at least level 51, 1800 mining speed, and the rest of your leftover powder balanced between leveling up Mole and powder buff. Now that you're all set, travel to your desired biome within the Crystal Hollows. If you're mining in the jungle, make sure to bring your jungle pickaxe with you. Then, dig as far up as you can, about 3 to 4 blocks below the bedrock ceiling at the top of the map. This is so you don't have any chance of running into any automatically generated structures. Now, you're ready to start digging. Just start breaking as much hardstone as you can, and click on any chests that appear. It's as simple as that, just mining stone and clicking on chests. Each treasure chest in the Crystal Hollows carries a range between 80 and 4,800 of each powder type. That being said, your hourly powder gain is highly RNG dependent. With this method, you can earn, on average, 600,000 powder per hour, with it being evenly split into both mithril and gemstone powder. This is the strategy that most Skyblock players use to go about earning millions of mithril and gemstone powder, and it's currently the best way to get gemstone powder in Skyblock. However, there's one more method for getting mithril powder that's so good, it actually feels like cheating. Enter golden, and diamond goblins. They each drop 200 mithril powder when killed, and they can be spawned by either mining ores or throwing goblin eggs. This is by far the best way to get mithril powder, but it unfortunately does not give any gemstone powder whatsoever. This means that if you decide to abuse this technique, you'll have to resort to one of the previous two methods to obtain your required gemstone powder. The necessary gear for this setup is very simple: get as much ferocity as you can. Ferocity is a stat that acts as a percentage chance for a melee hit to count twice, meaning at 100 ferocity, you'll effectively deal double damage. The stat's limit is at 500, which counts as a total of 6 hits with just one click. So why is this relevant? Well, the golden and diamond goblins only have 3 and 5 health respectively, but an unlimited amount of defense. That means that every hit on them only counts as 1 damage, no matter how much damage you actually deal, and the ferocity stat is an easy way to bypass that. For your weapon, you could use something like the Shredder, which drops from the Sea Emperor creature rarely. The Shredder has a base ferocity of 50, immediately giving you a plus 50% chance to hit twice. The only armor that gives ferocity as a base stat in Skyblock is the werewolf armor, for a total of plus 40 ferocity with all 4 pieces equipped. The tiger pet also gives quite a bit of ferocity as well, giving you plus 25 ferocity, combined with a plus 30% ferocity on top of that. As far as your Heart of the Mountain Tree goes, there's only one upgrade that actually matters: the Goblin Killer perk. The Goblin Killer perk doubles the amount of mithril powder gained from killing golden and diamond goblins, increasing it from a base of 200 powder to 400 powder per kill. It literally doubles the effectiveness of this method. You can put the rest of your powder wherever you want, it doesn't really matter where it all goes. Before we get into how this strategy should be carried out, I must mention that the previous 3 examples that I've listed for how to gain ferocity are nowhere near close to the maximum amount you can obtain. To utilize this method efficiently, you want the absolute most ferocity available to you. I'll quickly list out every single way to gain ferocity in Skyblock, in order from the generally less expensive items to the most expensive. Make sure to also set a budget for yourself, as you don't want all of your net worth going into obtaining plus 1 ferocity. Here we go. Eat the orange sensory cake for plus 2 ferocity. Mare Jerry can be elected, giving plus 10% ferocity. The handy Bloodchild's accessory gives plus 20 ferocity when in combat, costing 1 self-heal every 5 seconds. The dirty reforge on a weapon can add up to 15 ferocity on a mythic rarity item, and a renowned reforge on an armor piece can add up to plus 4% ferocity on a full set of armor. The common lion pet is a great budget pet for ferocity, giving plus 5 ferocity at level 100. The hound, ghoul, megalodon, and pigman pets all give plus 5 ferocity at level 100. The ocelot pet gives plus 10 ferocity at level 100. The legendary ender dragon pet gives plus 10% ferocity at level 100. You can enrich accessories for plus 0.3 ferocity per accessory. Equipment such as the Flaming Fist and Delirium Necklace both give plus 1 ferocity, and the Magma Lord Gauntlet gives plus 2 ferocity. Having a God Potion active gives plus 2 ferocity for 12 to 24 hours. Add in a Zombie Brain Mix in, and that number increases to plus 12 ferocity for 12 to 24 hours. For your Dragon Armor, set bonus gives plus 5% ferocity. Accessory powers can also give ferocity, such as Shaded, which gives plus 3, Morsel gives plus 4, and Scorching gives a whopping plus 7 ferocity. The Minus Relic pet item can give a pet plus 33% of its base ferocity. The Reaper Gem pet item gives a pet plus 8 ferocity for 5 seconds on every kill. The Legion enchantment can be put on an armor set for up to plus 28% ferocity with 20 players near you. The Ferocious Mana enchant can give up to plus 50 ferocity on a full set of armor for 10 seconds at a time. The Vicious enchantment on a weapon gives plus 5 ferocity. Fatal Tempo enchantment on a weapon gives up to 200% ferocity for 3 seconds. The Chimera enchantment can double your pet's base stats for a maximum plus 25 ferocity and plus 30% ferocity at the same time, using the legendary Tiger pet at level 100. Using the Daedalus axe can copy your pet's active stats for maximum plus 25 ferocity and plus 30% ferocity for level 100 Tiger pet equipped. The Valkyrie has a base ferocity stat of plus 60. Finally, the Alert and SOS flares with a temporary plus 10% ferocity. And that, to my knowledge, is every way to get ferocity in the game. Go ahead and go through what you think you can afford, and then come back here to find out how to actually start earning mithril powder. Now that your ferocity stat is all beefed up, we can finally start the process. First, go buy a few hundred goblin eggs from the bazaar. This will be expensive, but it really does work well. Now, with your ferocity set up and goblin eggs, wait in the Dwarven Mines for a ×2 powder event to start. This will further increase your mithril powder gain per goblin from 400 all the way to 800. Once you've found a Dwarven Mines lobby with a ×2 powder event, make your way over to the Puzzler's Room. You'll want to face the corner and spam throw the goblin eggs. This is because the golden and diamond goblins AI works in odd ways, making them always run away from the player who threw the eggs initially. However, this also means that this method is more effective with a friend throwing the eggs and spawning the goblins for you to kill. If another player spawns the goblins, they won't try to run away from you, since they weren't spawned by you, making them easier for you to pick off. From there, you just spam left click and watch that green number skyrocket. Though this method is outrageously expensive, you can make upwards of 2 million mithril powder per hour. You can get enough mithril powder to completely max out your entire Heart of the Mountain Tree in only 6 hours. Alright, I think that's all of it. At the end of the day, by doing commissions, powder mining, or killing golden goblins, you're still making good progress in the mining skill no matter which method you pick. But honestly, it may just be worth turning in those first 4 daily commissions and leaving it at that, as you can get a good amount of powder doing that every day. And of course, there are many more ways to increase your powder gain besides the powder buff upgrade. I'll throw some of them on screen now. All of these extra methods of increasing your powder work, but not as well as the previous 3 mentioned. Wow, now that I think about it, this stuff probably comes across as pretty dang complicated. If there's any part of this video that was at all confusing, or that you didn't understand, please leave a comment below. I'll try to answer as many questions related to powder grinding as possible. I hope you found at least one new method in this video, or learned a thing or two about efficient powder grinding. Please leave a comment down below telling me what I could improve on for future videos, as I'm constantly looking for new ways to create better Skyblock content for you. But yeah, that's about it today. Hang in there and happy powder grinding.